Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 1992, I could recall 1993, I left India, and last 30 years, I was involved with various organizations with transformation and turnaround. I remember starting with DHL. 2003, DHL was making a loss of around minus 1.5 billion euros globally, with revenue of 60 billion. Now, DHL was a global brand, wonderful services across the world, still losses of 1.5 billion. Now, I could recall 10 years' time, what we managed to do in DHL was learn the art of translating customer value proposition to profitable growth. So today, I'm going to share with you various examples and some of the learnings that could be transferred to HR team. I'm sure you'll get some good insights on transformation journey for any companies, and especially turnaround from loss-making to a profitable company. What are the key human capital levers that as HR or human capital team we should be looking at? So any company that we work around the world, we have values, we look into vision, and specifically when we look at business turnaround, we look into business model. But something I would like to emphasize here, the engagement model is very important. So when we say engagement with our employees, with customers, and various other stakeholders. But I'll take you through typically how we work for any transformation. So one of the examples we recently did in a company in Middle East called Nakheel Express. No one knew about this company. And from a small company, we turned around a trucking company to international logistics player of 5 times the value in 3 years' time. And that company was then taken over by Ministry of Transportation. And again, we had a wonderful journey, and typically what you would look at, the first step for any value transformation or turnaround, to understand the key value drivers. And it's not just for the CEO or CFO, it's for the HR teams, HR leaders looking what are the key value map, what are the key value drivers, how the value is flowing across the customer touch points, what triggers, what button you need to press to drive profitability and growth. So that's the typical first step. The second step is around enhancing the customer experience. How you can create market-leading customer experience for your customers. Now here, going back to the DHL journey, we knew that we had the best, we are offering the best possible customer experience to our customers. However, learning the art of translating that customer experience, customer value proposition to profitable growth, that's a different art. We need to understand how do we price our products, and again, typically most companies would think about what's my cost, and price should be somewhere above the cost. And gradually over time we realize we spend more and we realize we are making losses. What we should be looking at, what customers are prepared to pay, what customers can afford to pay, and accordingly tweak our price. So that's what we learned during the transformation journey with DHL, that we learned the art of pricing, how we can implement price increase, for example, how we implement various surcharges. Few percentage, 2 to 3% change in price can improve bottom line by 20 to 30%. That's this kind of impact you can deliver. And as Warren Buffett says, one of his investment criteria is to look at companies who are prepared to increase their price, who are managing their prices very well. And then finally, the last lever, but important lever, is looking into different financial levers, from capital restructuring, also looking at different sustainability levers. So when it comes to value mapping, typically for any transformation, we start to look at value mapping concepts. Some of the good to great principle concepts would be useful. Then we look into different levers around operations excellence, customer excellence, market drivers, human capital levers, and that's all part of customer value creation. And then gradually, how we translate that into profitable growth, you look into various commercial excellence levers, pricing levers, and finally, leverage all key financial levers. I would like to emphasize how we should approach as HR. Now, what is the learning from good to great by Jim Collins? First who, then what? We have to make sure we have the right people on the bus. When we look at our structure, we have to look from the value-based approach, looking into all the value levers that drives profitable growth. Typically, when we recruit people, we first look at how competent an employee is. We look at the competency profile. Doesn't matter how competent an employee is, if he is not accountable, he is not taking responsibility, we not get to get the best value out of it. Even if an employee is competent and accountable, doesn't matter. There are employees who are disrespectful and they can destroy the company values. Again, you might hire an employee who is competent, who is accountable and respectful. But is he engaged? Engaged enough? So engaging is the most important criteria. Now, if I would look at it, I would prioritize engaged people, engaged employees as priority number 1, followed by employees with the right attitude, third, accountable people, and competent, obviously, overall. Now, when we say engaged employees will deliver engaged customers. Engaged employees will more effectively utilize your resources, your systems, your tools to deliver the right customer value. And from a study, we concluded that with engaged employees, you could deliver over 23% premium, be it price, be it share of wallet. So that's the power an engaged employees can deliver. Another human capital lever that I would like to stress here is about human sigma. We heard about Lean Sigma and we heard about Quality Sigma, Six Sigma. I would like to emphasize here, and this is something we have recognized, that in any companies that we have been working on transformation, there are employees who are fully engaged, fully committed, work closely with the values and the strategy, and there are a majority of employees, most companies will find that they just come, they were given a job description, 8 to 5, they will work, and they will look for opportunities outside and not fully engaged. And there are also employees who are disengaged. They are actually value destroyers. Typically, when we look at transformation, what we'll explore, who are the employees who are really committed? Who are the employees who are destroying the values? And in any company's evolution, what happens gradually? We start to hire employees which is relevant for that point of time. But gradually, as the business model changes or your strategy changes, some of the employees are not relevant. So we need to look back and see, do we have fat in our organization that we need to eliminate? So human sigma is about increasing the percentage of engaged employees in your company, gradually measuring what percentage of your employees are engaged and how we can improve that percentage over years. Finally, I would like to also emphasize on building culture or change agents that you could all work together, starting with developing value champions. So, which means nurturing employees within your organization who could be leading your change. And we should revisit our strategic direction from the look at the value levers. So how are we placed versus the value drivers, the value levers? Even though we are, if you think about HR is a specific people function, but HR from a human capital perspective should look at the value a business is offering and where it fits, how the organization structure fits given the new strategy or the value levers that we are talking about. So we need to revisit the strategic direction, look at value-driven culture. Are we having a value-driven culture? Are we having the right matrices, right measures that help employees to focus towards delivering value? And execution focus, again, driving your organization, your employees towards delivering actions that delivers value. Finally, realizing optimal growth and profitability. So these are the few pointers I would like you to emphasize when you look at human capital in your respective organizations. Thank you very much.